such as our last interview today, which is with Luke Castle. Luke Castle is the Royal Starr Film Festival president and creative director, and is also the senior producer at Castle Heart Studios, joining us today to talk about the upcoming film festival. Luke, thanks for being with us today.
Thanks for having me.
Appreciate having you on. So there are a lot of film festivals at this time of the year. We're getting into festival season. What makes Royal Starr Film Festival stand out to some of the other ones that will be in our local area here in Metro Detroit and all throughout the state of Michigan?
We're a film festival that's out there. I tell this to a lot of people. This is our fundraiser for what we do for the rest of the year. We reach beyond just these 2 weekends. We help filmmakers get jobs, and we're responsible for helping hundreds of filmmakers get jobs over the last few years. But to do this film festival and for people to participate in it allows us to do that work on those other months. So that's one of the big things. The other thing is we're just really cool. We really like having people there and hanging out, and we hope we curate the best films. We work with other festivals too, so yeah.
So you talked a little bit about what your organization does to help filmmakers and why this film festival is so important to that, particularly on the fundraising end. So can you give us a little more detail on how your organization then helps filmmakers in the state of Michigan, and how much more important your services have been during the pandemic, especially when filmmakers and the film industry was so heavily affected by shutdowns and by precautions that were put in place because of the spread of this virus?
Okay, that's a two-part question. So the first thing is how do we help people? Is we had a monthly mixer before the pandemic, and we still have it. We had to put it on pause during the pandemic, but we have this monthly mixer that actually is really a job fair, and it helps lower the bar to our industry, which can be very expensive. One of the things that at the mixer that happens once a month is that there's a headshot photographer, and headshots can cost hundreds of dollars, but we negotiate with the headshot photographer so you can get your first headshot for $20 so you can get started in this industry quickly. We also bring in people that are hiring and crewing up or casting for roles, and we have these tables at this mixer. And then we also I'll help and aid filmmakers meet the other people that they need to meet to do the things that they need to do.
We're joined by Luke Castle. He is the Royal Starr Film Festival president and creative director, and the senior producer at Castle Heart Studios, with us today on the MegaCast. And the festival's opening night, it's not just going to have a lot of individual feature films. It'll also be the world premiere of 3 Michigan-produced feature films. How much of a focus, when you're planning this film festival and having it be here in the state of Michigan, how much of a focus goes into really showing off the work of filmmakers here in Michigan?
A lot of focus. We actually have separate categories just for our Michigan films, both features, docs, and shorts. It's something that we really love highlighting is our local film community. It is the community that we serve. So to show off their work and celebrate them is the biggest joy. So we focus on it quite a bit.
We're joined by Luke Castle, the Royal Starr Film Festival president and creative director, as well as the senior producer at Castle Heart Studios. And on top of those Michigan films, that will have 3 of which will have their world premiere screenings at the feature film, there's also going to be a number of other critically acclaimed films, such as the critically acclaimed coming-of-age film Drunk Bus, starring Charlie Tahan, screening of Broken Diamond, starring Ben Platt, and all that's going on at the festival right now. And so for those that want to attend the film festival, where can they attend, and how do they get tickets specifically to this film festival, because it's at the Imagine Theater, where they're also showing, I would presume, other regular films that are not involved in the festival?
Yeah, you can come to the box office the day of the film. If you're lucky, you'll get a ticket because it's been selling out, but we still have tickets left. If you can go to boxoffice.royalstar.org, and star is spelled with 2 R's. So boxoffice.royalstar.org. is where you can get your tickets and check out what films are coming and up and playing this upcoming weekend. And if you're lucky enough, if you show up to the box office, we might still have some for sale at the festival. I can tell you this past weekend, we sold out the first night and almost sold out that second night. So it's become a pretty popular place to be on the weekends.
So this, the Royal Starr Film Festival, it is a big fundraiser for the Royal Starr Arts Institute, which, as you said previously, helps to provide a lot of services to filmmakers in building their connections and helping them get their crews and so on and so forth for producing films right out of here in the state of Michigan. And with the festival being one of those chief fundraising opportunities each year. Of course, last year, a lot of these in-person events and certainly theaters were affected by COVID-19. How's the festival last year affected, and how did that end up affecting the funding of the Art Institute that does such great work for filmmaking artists here in Michigan?
Well, completely honest, a lot of our budget originally came from the state of Michigan, and that was wiped out. So we had to pivot, and we still had to run a festival. We pivoted to a drive-in movie, and instead of on the weekends, we did it on a Thursday night. Yeah, we did every Thursday night in September, and we partnered with Imagine and Novi to show those films. A lot of them were a lot of local films too. So that was the first thing we did, and it went off without a hook. Like, it was awesome to do a drive-in. It was a very interesting way to approach a film festival, especially for a person that puts on film festivals. I forgot what your other question was. What was it, Dan?
You kind of touched on it too when I'd asked about how not having the traditional, the regular in-person festival had affected the incoming funding from this fundraiser for the Royal Starr Arts Institute, and you kind of touched on that already. So, based on what happened last year and the experiences of this current ongoing film festival, are there any plans to kind of incorporate both styles of putting on that film festival in the future, especially with COVID still ongoing, where you can have more virtual elements to a film festival, or not only in person, but maybe a drive-in element as well for people that maybe don't want to be in those kinds of gatherings? How has the last year maybe changed the approach or changed the thinking on how you put on your film festival?
I would love to do the drive-in and add that as a permanent component, even if it was just one showing that we did a year. It would be great if I could do it at the same time we have the film festival. It's an expensive component, especially to do it just for one night, but it is something that we have been talking about, and if we can raise enough money to do it, it is something I'd like to add in the future years.
We're joined by Luke Castle. He is the Royal Starr Film Festival president and creative director, as well as the senior producer at Castle Hart Studios. Joining us today on the Mega Cast to talk about the Royal Starr Film Festival, which has made its return to in-person screenings this year at the Imagine Theater in Royal Oak. That is going on from now through September 19th at the Royal Oak location on Main Street in Royal Oak. And Luke, you mentioned earlier that there are individual awards categories for Michigan-based films. In terms of next year, looking forward for some filmmakers that are currently in the process of making some films right now, how can they go about getting some of their films maybe into the Royal Starr Film Festival in 2022?
Absolutely. If a filmmaker's familiar, they can submit on Film Freeway. If you're not familiar, you can start at royalstar.org with 2 R's again, and click on the links there for submissions. Submissions will open up after the festival. Right now they're closed until the festival's on, while the festival's ongoing.
Learn more information at royalstar.org. That is Royal Starr with 2 R's.org. We're joined by Luke Castle. He is the president and the creative director for the Royal Starr Film Festival, and also the senior producer at Castle Hart Studios. And I want to talk a little bit about the film industry here in the state of Michigan in particular, but even more across the board also. That's providing better detail, because that was halted during the during the thick of the pandemic. It's coming back. It's continuing. Productions are continuing to return in some capacities and the other. With the filmmakers being so heavily affected by a loss of work over the course of the pandemic, how are Michigan's filmmakers holding up now with the industry coming back? Is it enough of a boom to help them really get some momentum as they're heading back out through the current status of the pandemic, or are our filmmakers still really having trouble getting their films made because of the effects of the pandemic?
I have seen production start to come back. And I'm really proud to see the measures they're taking to make sure sets are safe. There's a certification out there that you can now get. There's I forget what it was called. It's a COVID certification for sets. But things are starting to return to that. I've been actually on a couple of sets now this year. So yeah, no, it's starting to return. It's great.
And how are the film sets looking differently? Because every film set's going to be different from one to the other. Every film production is going to operate different from the next one. But there are a lot of similarities in how films are produced and how they are being made. So right now with COVID-19 and the situation that's still ongoing, how are film sets different now than they were before the pandemic?
This is actually sort of silly. Individual condiment packets is the best way to sort of explain the whole set thing. Like, one of my jobs is to assist with catering, ordering it and everything.
Okay.
And when we usually do, we, say if you need ketchup, you don't have individual, you have a bottle of ketchup. But a lot of it's just individual packets, and it's that mentality of trying to keep things compartmentalized, and looking at other ways to keep everybody on that set safe and running. So I guess that's just one of the things to highlight. That there's consistent testing, extra people that are usually on set just to see what's going on. That's not happening right now. So yeah, there's a lot that went into it, but yeah.
We're joined by Luke Castle of the Royal Starr Film Festival. He is their president and creative director. He is also the senior producer at Castle Heart Studios with us on the MegaCast, talking about the Royal Starr Film Festival running now through September 19th at the Imagine Theater in Royal Oak. Luke, anything else that would be important for our audience or interesting for our audience to know about the film festival, about your organization's additional work beyond that, or anything else today?
Yeah, I encourage everybody to come out, check out the films. We have a great lineup this weekend with some really great films. You named them already. Broken Diamonds. Broken Diamonds. Drunk Bus. Yeah, Broken Diamonds. Sorry.
Okay.
So check them out. Make sure you get tickets ahead of time, because I don't know what will be available, because we were sort of surprised how quickly the other one sold out. But I'm excited to see everybody this weekend. There's after parties that happen afterwards. We've partnered with City Tavern in Royal Oak. So it's a great festival, and I encourage anybody to come out and support their local film community.
Yep, support the local film community and an organization that supports the filmmakers as well. Luke, we appreciate it.
Thank you.